Okay, we're live. Hey, how's it going, Isabel? This is Jordan, location independent, and I'm so excited to have you here. Very special guest. Um, and oh no, I'm okay. I had myself open in a new window. Anyway, so yeah, why don't you start out? Like, let's talk about who you are and why am I having you here? Yeah, what are you up to?
My name is Isabel, and I do print on demand as sort of a side gig. Right now, I'm on Redbubble and Merch by Amazon, and I'm here to talk about those two things.
I was really fascinated, and I mentioned this in the email to my people, that you managed to do this in between having a very full homeschooling your kids and a full-time job and two of your own merchandise site. So I would love to know, like, and I think everyone else hearing this, like, how you got started and how do you manage that?
I think I must have signed up for Merch by Amazon on a whim ages ago, literally like more than a year ago. I think at that time, in order to be accepted by the program, there was a large time lag. And so I don't remember signing up, but I remember getting the invitation to join and remembering vaguely reading about it in the past. And I was like, I must have signed up. So I joined and I put up a couple t-shirts, and then it became sort of irritating to me that other people were able to sell t-shirts and mine didn't sell. And I could also tell that my t-shirts were hideous, that I had no skill. Like, designing actually takes some skill. It's not as easy as drawing a picture, but it turns out it is as easy as putting words on a shirt. My two bestsellers are just words with no image at all, and I can do that. So I started putting up more shirts, and the rush that you get when someone buys one is like a drug. So I'm very small time. I'm not going to tell you I'm hugely successful. I'm excited to be able to go to Disneyland maybe at the end of the year. That's my level of success. But that's sort of how I started and what propelled me into it.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like you're more motivated. Like, the money is kind of a side effect of, like, a side benefit, but it's really about learning and, like, watching yourself succeed more and more and growing your sales, like, month after month. And you showed me that chart. I can actually link to that in my description in the video. But yeah, the chart, like, every month your sales are growing and growing. You start out really small, I thought that was really cool.
I think that's something to know about yourself, is that I thought the money would motivate me, and I was excited by the idea of making money, but it turns out that that wasn't true. And like, I have put up very few shirts over the past 2 or 3 months because my real job required more of my attention. And now I know that like, just, it's like a machine that prints money, but I'm not putting the effort in to get the money out. And I think another person might just soar, but I'm just kind of like happy with my trajectory.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone is going to have their own goals, their own pace. And now I'm just curious, if you could tell us, for people who are considering starting this their self, what would your biggest piece of advice for them be to get started?
Just start. First of all, just sign up. I started on, like, print on demand. There are so many platforms that you could sell through for print on demand. And there's different levels of your time and effort required by the different platforms. And I would read about Merch by Amazon, Redbubble, Society6, TeePublic, Threadless, like, the list goes on and on. And those are ones that require just for you to put up a design. So if you're going to start there. And just start putting them up. In terms of, like, what to read, there are a lot of, like, self-described experts online who publish ebooks and courses and offer coaching, and none of that's really necessary. for, yeah, like don't,
The
don't,
gurus.
yeah, exactly, the gurus. Don't pay money to anything or anybody. Like, it'll seem tempting, like maybe you need it, but you, until you're selling t-shirts, you don't know what you need, and you don't need it at that stage either. Like, I pay for a design software program, and I pay for something called Merch Informer, which makes research a little bit easier. But even Merch Informer, you don't really need to do research. But now that I'm selling t-shirts, I figure it pays for itself. Like, I don't have to take money out of my personal income. Like, the t-shirts are paying for the t-shirt stuff. And now I'm happy to do it. But you can start for free. And in fact, I would challenge anyone, like, see how far you get before you spend a single penny.
Yeah, I think that's a really good piece of advice for whatever you're doing, whether it's these merchandise stores or whatever your online side business idea is, to get started just for free and see how far you can go, which is exactly what I'm doing with this YouTube channel, by the way. And then as you go along and as you progress, you'll notice that to boost yourself to the next level, sometimes these extra paid resources help you, but that's already once you've got. And what was the name of that one again? I think we're going to link to that below for anyone who's interested in finding out about that.
It's Merch Informer, and I'm sorry to say I forget the fellow who has that site. I don't remember his name, but if you just Google Merch Informer, that'll take you right there.
Okay, and real quick, I don't want to spend too much more time on that, but did you notice when you did get into Merch Informer or some of these paid resources or paid tools that your sales jumped as a result?
Definitely using Merch Informer had an impact in terms of just know it, like, because the tools existed, I was like, oh, you need a tool for keyword research? I guess I should be doing keyword research. That makes sense. So I didn't even know what I needed to know about until I saw that there were tools for that thing. So what, like, I'm being a little bit disingenuous. When I first started, after the first 2 months, I think I paid for Merch Informer for, like, there was a free trial, and then I paid for 1 month, and I tried to do like as much research as I could, and then I canceled it. And one of the t-shirts I made at that time is a daily seller. My other daily seller, because I only have two, was something I just thought of on a long car ride, and one of the text lines t-shirts that I threw up, and for whatever reason it struck a chord and it sells. So one I did on my own, and one I did through research. But like now, so I think I had 6 months where I didn't subscribe, and then I was like, okay, well, now I feel like I need to do more research, and I'm too lazy to do it on my own. Now I want to use a paid tool to make it a little bit easier, and I started up again.
Okay, great. Now I wanted to, I have to know, and our viewers have to know, are there any funny stories or like crazy horror stories, something went wrong that just like, yeah, that you'd like to share about anything with this?
So I think the worst thing that can happen is if Amazon rejects one of your designs, because with every rejection is the fear they will terminate your account. And it's a really good reminder to not rely on just one platform. That if you're going to do this, diversify across, like and it's hard because Amazon brings in the money to put attention on something smaller like Redbubble. But if you don't, and Amazon terminates your account, then that's just upsetting. But I think the funniest thing that happened was there's a method of t-shirt design called copy improve, where people look for selling designs and they copy it and they try to improve it. They're like, I can do that better and mine will sell better than theirs because it's better. So I'll just take all their hard work and research and just use my awesome design skills to sell. And I've had several t-shirts, and I admit it, I see those and I'm like, yeah, that is better than my t-shirt. Good for you. I mean, whatever, who cares? But I had one t-shirt that I put a lot of effort into. It wasn't an original idea, but it was my, like, it alludes to certain like Bible verses or something. And so I looked up my own verses that were like meaningful to me or something. And so mine was unique, right? A unique list of things I care about.
Where this is going. Yeah.
And then someone copied it. Okay, whatever. And their design was all right. I mean, mine was all right. Theirs was all right. And they would price it 1 penny below my price. So every time I changed my price, they would change their price to be 1 penny lower.
Oh my God. You know what? I used to, oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, that went on for weeks.
Oh my God. Man, I could totally identify with that as being a former eBay power seller myself. I would like undercut by like 50 cents, and then the next guy would do like the same by 50 cents, and it'd be like a war that no one could win. So how did that end up though, really quick? Like how did
I decided to take the philosophy of I am worth it. My designs will sell. I have learned a lot. I've improved. And so I priced everything at $19.99. There's a lot of reasons why that's a good idea, but that I was like, yeah, that I will not sell for cheap. Like if people are willing to spend $15, they're willing to spend $20. Yeah. And I have fewer sales, but I make more royalty. So I'm actually making more money than last month. And my sales graph is going to dip a little or level off at least between August and September, but I made more money. So
that's really interesting. So there's always that, you got to keep in mind the perfect balance between like selling a little bit more for cheaper, but less for more money. So that's kind of, I don't know, did you just kind of like wing it, or you kind of got a sense of that, or is there some way you measured that?
You know, I think I waited, I'm very impatient. I think I waited a week. And when my shirt didn't sell at $19.99, I dropped it to $18.99, and it began selling slowly. And I think at some point I'll bump it back up to $19.99. But it's a general rule of thumb. When you're starting out, you price cheap because you think it'll attract buyers. But like maybe that's true, and maybe there's like reasons you need views or favorites or sales for whatever. But ultimately, you're going to price at the same average price that everyone else is selling at, and you're going to make more money that way. You have to trust your design and go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, speaking of trusting your design, well, we have time for about 2 more questions. First, I want to ask, speaking of designs, do you have a design background? Like, how did you learn? If someone's coming in, they're like, this sounds really cool, but I've never made a shirt, or I'm not really a good artist. Like, you know, do you have a skill or training in that? Yeah.
None. I decided as a New Year's resolution in 2017 to learn how to draw. I'll see if I have. So I draw a lot, and they're terrible. So like, okay, so here's a good example. These are like eyes and noses, and who knows what, right?
Kidding? Like, that is amazing. Shut up. That's not terrible. What?
Well,
okay, now you're
not kidding everyone. It's not going to go on a t-shirt. Let's put it like that, right? Okay. Like those, and that, I mean, that was for me, that's a lot of effort. That's not like a quick little sketch at the cafe. That's like huge concerted effort on my part. So that's the extent of my design background, like self-taught from YouTube, learning how to like sketch faces or something. When I started out, I was so cheap. I was using like the Mac version of PowerPoint. It's called Keynote. To do my designs, because I could get a transparent background. And so I would use Keynote to like copy paste like free vector art from the web and put a line of text. And those were my first designs until I could afford a paid design program.
Okay.
So,
wait, paid design program. Now I'm curious. Did you mention that already?
Adobe Illustrator. Adobe Illustrator. Okay. It's so nice. I don't like paying per month. I think next year when my subscription runs out, I'll do Affinity Designer just because it's pay one time. And I've heard that it's comparable. I really hope it is. But Adobe Illustrator, it's just so easy. Like, if you're a student, you get it for cheap. So if you're a student, go for it. But if you're not,
okay. I'm sure there's a bunch of other very cheap or low-cost tools out there, especially when you're getting started. Like we talked about in the beginning, have like the top of the line thing just to get going and do what you can with the free or cheap or lower cost tools. Now, okay, the last question is, and first, before we get into that, for everyone who's watching, if you like And if you like Isabel's amazing effort, this incredible thing with like a more than full-time life, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe, as it's a brand new channel, and I really appreciate that. And of course, Isabel appreciates that as well. So, okay, little. Now that being said, the last question is, speaking of being so busy, how in the heck do you manage all that? Being, having the family and the job and then doing the side thing. How do you do that?
Okay, well, I think I started on some break or vacation or a long weekend or something where I was like, I don't know if you ever get bit by a bug where you're like obsessed with one thing and like you're binge watching a show or you're reading a book that you can't put down. So mine was making a t-shirt that sells. I was obsessed with that idea and it consumed my every thought until I succeeded. So I think maybe for a period of 2 months or 3 months, it was my every waking moment, which like not everyone has that luxury to have like spare time or an understanding partner or a flexible schedule. So I homeschool my kids. I set my own hours. My work is sort of location independent. I'm a linguist. I travel a lot. Yeah. So I'm the passenger while my partner's driving for maybe 8-9 hours at a stretch as we go from rural location to rural location. So I have a lot of time to write down ideas or read websites I've saved or just doodle in my notebook designs I'm thinking of. Then there was a period where my work took up every moment. And so for maybe 2 or 3 months, I barely put up a single t-shirt. And I'm coming out of that now where I'm like, oh, Q4, December's coming, better get on it. So I think like my time isn't 9 to 5. I don't have a schedule. Maybe if I had a schedule, I could put in blocks of time and tell you how many hours I've put into this. I have no idea how many hours I put in, too many for how much money I made. But like that's, like I wish I could say I had it all figured out and a perfect schedule and my kids are acing their classes. We're just muddling through it.
Like to really quickly summarize, it sounds like you get the support from your partner and just from your family in general, and then also that drive, that strong urge, the desire to make it work, and then you're going to make time, or you're going to find time here and there to, I don't want to say like achieve your dreams. It sounds like, but yeah, to do whatever you want to accomplish.
Right. I mean, last year it was learning how to draw. This year it's t-shirts. Who knows about next year, right? But I think also everyone you know, especially your family, is going to give you t-shirt ideas. They're going to say, I thought of a t-shirt. So get ready, guys.
Yeah, it's the same with me now that I'm doing videos. Like, oh, you should do a video on that, or this would make a great video. Totally. So, okay, now we're almost out of time. Is there any, final closing words or pieces of advice you'd like to share with starting their own merchandise site, or just whatever their own kind of business venture, or be like any tips for those people?
I think like deciding ahead of time. It's hard to know. You have to know yourself really well. I guess deciding ahead of time how much time and effort and what the goal is coming out of it. Like my goal was something fun to do, like go out to dinner or go to Disneyland or go to Washington, D.C. or something. Like set a goal. And I don't know. I think for some people who are really business minded, they're going to have a business plan. They're going to invest some money up front and they're going to expect a certain set of returns. If you're a hobbyist, like I'm more of a hobbyist, maybe just try and think it through very carefully before you start, but start.
Perfect. Couldn't have said it better myself. So, all right, we're going to have to wrap up. I just want to say for everyone watching that you can get all these resources that we've been talking about and links in the description below, not only to Isabel's, her merch, the resources around that, but then my digital nomad free cheat sheet with also some links on getting started. And again, if you like this chat, and also if you have any questions for me or Isabel, you can put that in the comments, and we're gonna more than happy to answer those. So thanks again for watching. Digital high five, if I can get that.
High five.
Woo! Okay, all right, that's it. See you all in the next video. Thanks again for watching. Bye.